Alright, my very first quadcopter build, racing drone, whatever you want to call it, was the RFX185. And although I love the way it turned out, it looks really cool, and it flies really well, I did not use the fastest motors on this. I used the Emax MT22042 2300 kV motors. These are not the absolute fastest motors in the world, but and I can just replace the motors and put faster ones on there. But since it's flying so well right now, I'm just going to leave it alone and keep flying it. That being said, I had the urge to redo it from scratch, but why do the same one? So I decided to do the RFX160. So looking into the RFX160 box, this has got some parts in it that didn't come with the kit, but we're going to go ahead and look at all the parts that I've selected for this. I've got some 6mm braiding that I'm going to put around the wires. They will just barely fit and be tight. This comes with the kit. This is zip ties. This is something that also comes with the kit. Maytech Mini Power Hub 5 and 12 volt backs. This does not come with the kit. This is the FSAAS version 2. These are XT60 connectors. XT30. Excuse me. XT30 connectors. I have 2 of those. So. This is from pololu.com. See if we can get that to focus. Maybe. It says 9mm buzzer, 4 to 6 volt top opening. There you go. That's a little better. Also not in the kit is the Flip 32 F4 flight controller. Now let's go check that out on the web. Alright, so this is the this is the Flip 32 F4 Reroll Pin Header Edition from ReadyToFlyQuads.com. And if you click in here, it tells us a little bit about it. It says all units are now flashed with DataFlight 3.1.0 and have support for DSHOT ready to select from drop down. DSHOT ready, unless you had it flashed with Raceflight, which you can do. It says the Flip 32 F4 has a low noise gyro, optimal gyro placement, and not an overly super inventive gyro that will require chasing down the PID tune. So it uses the stable SPI MPU 6000 gyro. It has DSHOT support with pre-flash with DSHOT firmware, unless of course you chose the have it flashed with Raceflight. Direct LiPo input 1.5, so you can take up to a 4S, I believe, and plug it straight into the board. If we look at the, where is it? So I believe the connections would be what you see here looks to be VBAT and ground. And I believe if you just take your battery and go straight to the VBAT and ground there, you're going to power this flight controller, and it'll know about the voltage that you're getting and power the flight controller, which is really cool. It has a boot DFU button. 16 megabyte of black box, S-Bus, PPM, pin headers. It's got a Spectrum satellite port for direct connection. It uses the STM32F405 MCU. So this might be a little challenging to get that little buzzer that I showed you earlier connected up, because it's right next to the ground VBAT for powering the flight controller. So I'm going to have to get creative there to try to fit that in there and also make the VBAT connection. I'm not planning on putting an LED strip in, but it would be nice to have that option later on if I chose to. Let me see here. And I think that's about it. There's no OSD in this one, but it does come with Betaflight, and it is DSHOT ready, so you don't have to worry about flashing any firmware, although I probably will. I understand that there are new versions of Betaflight out now. Latest Betaflight is like 3.1.2, so it's been revised. But overall, I think this should be a pretty cool little flight controller. And it was only $17. I got it in 3 days. Alright, so that was the online portion of the Flip 32. Reviewing from online. Let's see if we can't get a better focus. So these are the instructions. They're on the outside. They're just taped to the package. And the package, inside the package you have some pin headers. You have the flight controller right here. Let me see if I can get that. And it says it's already flashed with DF3.1. I plugged this in the computer already. It looks like it's fine. It's going to work fine. I like it. $17. Now, this was also not in the kit. This is a Scorpion strap. It's thinner than most, regular strap would probably be, out to here, a little bit thicker. But I find these thinner Scorpion straps work really well on the frame, as can be seen here. There's just enough room. Whoops. Just enough room on the bottom here for that strap. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So that's what I used on the RFX185, and it worked out. So this does come with the kit right here. These are the standoffs, and there's some aluminum spacers in here. This is some more carbon pieces. These are the bottom plates and the side plates, and the two you have two top plates, one for line of sight, and you have another top plate like this one. You have another top plate like this one, or you have a flat one that's just for line of sight. I'm assuming if you did a line of sight build, you wouldn't bother with you wouldn't bother with these standoffs. So you get a bunch of these screws with the kit. You get plastic standoffs and nuts, nylon nuts. And these are the arms. So now these parts here, I forget where I got these. They might have been from Multi-Road and Mania, but these are little rubber dampeners. I don't know if I'll need these for this, but I thought I might try it if there's an inventive way to get them on there. So these did not come with a kit. Now, also from Banggood is this little guy here. This is the 20 amp. Whoops. Let's focus on that. Kind of hard to see, but let's pull it out. This is the Racerstar 20 amp. It came from Banggood, and this says it's Racerstar RS 20 amp X4 V2 BLE 4-in-1 ESC with 5-volt LBEC, and it can support 16.5 DSHOT for FPV Racer. Interesting to see how that works out. But I thought this would be a pretty good companion for the flight controller that was already has the correct firmware on it, and see about getting the DSHOT 600 to work. If not, I'll go with multi-shot, because there's no point in going with DSHOT 150 or 300. You can get decent performance out of multi-shot. But I did use this a very similar. Let me see. Move the camera here. Very similar. I used the Racerstar 20 amp V2, the original V2, without the linear back, 5-volt back, and without the DSHOT, on my RFX185. And the multi-shot, yeah, it worked great. I had no problems with it. Absolutely loved my first one. Hopefully I will love this one too. Now, one of the things that I was a bit disappointed, maybe disappointed, with my first, with my first build, would be the motors. They were older Emax motors, and they're not very powerful. They weigh about 25 grams, so they were nice and light. But these DYS SE Special Edition 1806 2550 motors are supposed to be even faster than those 2204 motors, much faster actually, especially on 4S. And these are the motors I should have used with the RFX185. These weigh 23 grams. They have the hollow motor shaft. Let me see. No clip on the bottom. It's recessed, so I don't know if you can see that. It's recessed, so you don't have to worry about this rubbing. You don't need a center hole. Now, the real cool thing about this is, check this out. Let me see if I can do this. A lot of cogging going on in there. These have the newer magnets, the more powerful magnets. I don't know if we can get a view in there. I think you can see the gap now, you know, between the stators and the magnets. So I have high hopes for these. It's supposed to be with four blade 40/40 props. You're supposed to get like 770 grams of thrust per motor. Now I'm not sure if they were counting on these props here. These are the 40/40s, I believe. These are Racecraft. They're bullnose, so yeah, pretty cool. It says serving size is 4 only 120 calories, super fatty, don't be salty, total carbs, protein 23. Let's see what the ingredients are. A-nub, harmonic, Bapu, Bgrass, Brain Drain, Gars, Jesse P, Jet, Johnny FPV, Dreambug. You know those guys. They're all like online, right? Rage, Cage, Sage. Cool. Love the packaging. And with those 4 motors, I will be using, like I did with my RFX185, a tiny, tiny battery with an XT30. I'm going with the XT30 because every little bit of weight counts. And I can also get these pulse batteries with a higher C rating in a 1080 if I really want to go with a lot more flight time. We're going to see what this does. My 185, I got 6-minute flights out of this battery. So with this setup, it's going to be interesting to see how long we get to fly. So we're not completely done. We got some other parts here that I want to show you. I have a $12 VTX. This is, what do they call this? The VTX 03 from eSheen. And if we look inside here, we have tiny little whip antenna. We have this is a 25, 50, and 200, and I believe it has 72 channels. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the computer, and so that we can look at this instruction manual, because wow, this instruction manual is really, really tight, really small. It's, unless you got really good eyesight, you're going to have a hard time reading that one. I know I do. And then on the back, right, it's got all the channels. Let me see if I can read this. Let's switch to the computer real quick. All right. So here's the enlarged instruction manual. And I scanned it in, and you can see it's 0, 25, 50, and 200 milliwatt adjustable. And we have all of the different bands: A, B, E, F. What is that? R, U, O, L, and H. And channels 1 through 8 across those bands. It's a Super Mini 5.8 gigahertz 72 channel FPV transmitter. I bought mine off of us.banggood.com. Now that's an interesting thing about the US Banggood website. And let me see if I can go there really quick to show you. So it seems like when anybody orders a part in the States, that they ask for, they get a few extra shipped, so that sometimes we end up getting, like, look at this. If I ordered this, I live in Arizona, if I ordered this Realacc X210 frame for 28 bucks, I'm going to get it in 3 days, because this ships out of California and I live in Arizona. And they have 2 different versions. They got the 6K carbon and the 3mm, 4mm carbon fiber. So these are the parts that you normally only see on the Chinese website. There's the hub, the Racerstar 4-in-1, the V2. Let me see which one this is. These come and go though, so you can't count on these being there. But here you go. DSHOT 600, one-shot support. This is not the one with the LBEC. I do not believe, but it's still, you know, stuff that you normally have to wait a couple weeks to get here from China. So it's really nice that they're starting to stock some of this stuff. There's limited quantities, so like if I go in here and I see how many in stock, it just says in stock, doesn't say how many. But there have been times when I clicked in here and it was like they only had like 4 or 5. Let's see what this one says. This one was out of stock for a while. This one had only 9 units of the 3mm, but they have the 4mm is in stock. So it's kind of cool to see that they're starting to stock their US warehouse with some cool stuff. Let's go to just plain old racing frame. Let's see what it does. Not really cool. These are about the 2 coolest ones they have here for the US. But still, you know, you can get a $25 or a $24 frame. Very cool. I like that. So let's go back over to the, let's look at the FPV stuff. See what they got right now. They got the TX, oops. They got the Ishin VR D2 5-inch. This one they've had on there for a while. They got the Ishin TX03 0 25 50 200 all-in-one camera. So it's like kind of like that VTX03, only without the camera. Well, the VTX03 does not have a camera. This one does. See, aimway antennas, Run Cam Eagle, TX02, which I have one of those, the EF02, EF01. So yeah, they're starting to stock some parts. There's the VR008 Diversity, TX01, King Kong parts. Yeah, they're starting to stock some of the stuff that you only see on their Chinese websites, which is really cool. So my word of advice is that when you're going to go buy from China, if you live in the States, go check. I mean, if you're going to order from China, check the U.S. website real quick if you live in the U.S. to see if you can get any parts locally. And then place 2 separate orders. One for the parts you can get from the U.S. and one for the parts where you can only get from China. And I think that's a good option. It's really nice to see more of these parts showing up at the U.S. warehouse for a quick and easy order. I like that. So that pretty much wraps it up as far as the parts. I believe this guy, when I was reading the specs, it weighs like 3 grams for this VTX, 200 with up to 200 milliwatts of power. I think that's really good. Now it does say something about the power consumption. And let me go back to that real quick. You're not going to be able to see this, but I'm going to read it off to you. Let me see if I can get to that. Let's see. Let me read this off. It says that the output power is 0, 25, 50, 200 watt. Input voltage is 3.2 volts. 3.2 volts to 5.5 volts. So you're really not supposed to hook this up to, according to these specifications, you're really not supposed to hook this up to 12 volt. I heard somebody else said they did, and they didn't have any problems, but you know, I'm not going to trust that. So I got 4 of these motors here. 2 clockwise, 2 counterclockwise. I got these motors off of Hobby King. I believe it was their the US West warehouse for like $14, $13 each. So I'm really happy with these. We're going to see how those rock, and I think they are. Now I don't think I'm actually going to use this camera here. This is a real cheapy $12 camera. It's more or less just a prop. I might put it on just for videotaping, but chances are I'm going to use, let me see. I'm either going to use an HS1177, and not a clone, but a real one, or I might even put this little tiny, skip the VTX altogether, and turn this into my like little whoop with the if that's what you because it's going to be a 4-inch 160 millimeter. I could put this little 200 milliwatt all-in-one out in there. There's no OSD in the flight controller anyways, and I'm not going to be adding one. So this guy has these little connections here, has a little antenna. I don't know how well this antenna would hold up to a crash, so I have a feeling this guy is going to be a real beast when it comes to flying. So that could, I might have to find some way to reinforce it. Definitely. So I think that's all I have to show for now until I actually do the next phase of building. Wish me luck. I'll put the frame together and possibly put this receiver in that frame and mount the motors, and I'll show you that part before I move on to any others. Goodbye.